thank you guys for having me. For those who don't know who I am, I'm Abby Sharp. I'm a registered dietitian, blogger, and YouTuber at Abby's Kitchen, and I'm a mom of 2 little boys, one of which is 2 months today, which is crazy. Time has flown and also gone by really, really slow in a weird way. Anyways, what we're going to be talking about today is snacks, because if you are like me and so many other moms, especially in COVID times, you've probably been asked about snacks all day, every day. What's for snack? When is snack? Can I have a snack? All day. So I thought this would be a fitting topic for everybody. And I thought I'd start by answering some big, bold questions, some major questions off the top before we get into some snack recipes. First of which is, how should you snack? Or how should your kids snack? And so I'm a big proponent of what we call the division of responsibility of feeding, which is a feeding theory developed by Ellen Satter, who's a registered dietitian. And basically what it suggests is that as parents, our job, our role is to determine what food is served, when it's served, and where it's served. Our children their job is to determine what they're going to eat of those items and how much or if they're going to eat at all. So under the division of responsibility, we actually want to think about snacks more like mini meals. I know so many of us are accustomed to thinking of snacks almost as like treats or fun foods. And I prefer, side note, I prefer the word fun foods to treats because I think that the word treats gives it just too much moral power, but I'll talk more about that shortly. In general, we want to think about these as mini meals, and that means having a really strong, structured meal and snack schedule. Because what happens is if we don't have a structured snack time, we can just kind of graze throughout the day. Kids are going to have a few crackers here, a few grapes here, maybe a piece of banana. Every single time they say, eat, I'm hungry, feed me, they're putting something in their mouth. There's no chance that they're going to make it to a main family meal with enough of an appetite to actually want to try something new, try a new vegetable, or eat anything at all. So structure is really, really important here. And that also means where we are having our snacks. So I do recommend sit-down snacks, which I know sometimes that's just not an option. And, you know, sometimes we're on the go and that's going to happen. That's no problem. But I do find that we're going to want to have those snacks sitting down in a similar or same environment that we would have our main meal. So that could be at the family table, that could be a child's table. We have a snack table in my home, so that's another option as well. Now, the next question I always get asked, I have a schedule. What happens if my kid says they are hungry and it's like 10 minutes before dinner? What do I do then? Because we know if I give them some goldfish, they're going to ruin their dinner, they're going to spoil their dinner, and they're not going to want to eat enough at dinner time. So in this situation, it really depends on the age and development of your kids. If they're old enough to understand and wait, you can say, hey, we're actually about to have dinner in about 10 minutes. You could set a timer. You could just do a bit of a countdown. Children, especially toddlers, don't have the best sense of time. So if you need to kind of give them 5-minute reminders, okay, 4 more minutes, or whatever it might be, that is another great thing. And you just hold them off that way. And if you start to realize that this is becoming a regular occurrence where they're always asking for a snack like 15 minutes before dinner, then it might mean that you need to rejig the schedule a little bit, push that snack time back, or push dinner a little bit earlier. And if they can't wait, which I get hungry too. So if they can't wait, then what you're going to want to do is to put out on the table kind of an appetizer, anything that you think that, you know, that's already been prepared, that's easy for you, that you don't need to rush. So that could be some vegetables from the meal, a component of the meal that you've already prepared. Maybe you've boiled some pasta, so you can put a little pasta on the table just to take the edge off until you can get the rest of the family meal on the table. Now, next big question, what should we be including in a snack? So I always like to think about snacks. We said mini meals. So we want to talk about the hunger crushing combination. So that's what I call fiber, protein, and healthy fats. And ideally, a snack has at least one of these, if not 2 or 3 of these. And I know that that sounds really overwhelming, like, oh my gosh, now I have to think about every snack and all these components and make sure there's fiber and there's protein and there's... It's actually pretty intuitive. We're actually talking about making it as simple as yogurt and berries, or hummus and pita, or toast with guacamole or avocado on it, something like that. It is so simple. As long as you are kind of putting maybe two things together, you're going to build out a really balanced, healthy snack that's going to help keep them satiated until they can get to that next meal. Now, the other question I always get is, well, what about treats and fun foods? Like I said before, I prefer to use the word fun foods because I don't want to put treats on a pedestal. We don't even use the word treats in my house. We say TREATs. So basically, when it comes to the division responsibility, their recommendation, Ellen Satter's recommendation, is actually that every once in a while you make snack time unlimited sweets time, or unlimited, fun foods time. So that could mean putting out a plate of cookies, or I know Halloween is coming up in a few weeks. So that could mean putting out the whole Halloween kind of candy haul and letting your kid decide how much they want to eat at that snack. Allowing them to eat as much candy as they want, or chocolate or cookies or whatever that sweet snack might be, without you getting in there and meddling and saying, oh no, that's too much, that's too much. Because when we start saying that, then it builds up in their head as being, ooh, well, those cookies are something that mom and dad clearly don't want me to have. So they must be really important, really special, really coveted. I know I'm going to fixate myself on getting more cookies. If we let our children have unlimited amounts of these foods, we know that, they basically come to terms with the fact that it's actually really not that big of a deal. Mom's letting me have cookies, so it's clearly not something I need to obsess over. I'm going to get cookies again. That's the point that we're trying to get to. But of course, we do want the majority of our snacks to be nutrient dense and mini meals and providing that nourishment. So we are going to focus on some of those more balanced snack options today. I'm going to move this camera so that we can get this all situated. Just one second here. And we're going to make some snacks. Here we are. Whoopsies. Make sure I can see myself. Great. All right, and if anybody does have questions about these recipes or anything like that, we'll make sure that we get a link up and lots of information so everyone can see. I think that's looking pretty good. Okay, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. All right, so we're going to start with a toddler and kid-friendly yogurt parfait. So I love yogurt parfaits, and I've been working with General Mills and Cheerios for a while now because I love that the first ingredient is whole grains. And whole grains is definitely something that we want to look for when it comes to snacks, because for our kids, it's going to provide those energizing carbohydrates, fiber, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytonutrients, so important. So when you're looking for cereal, you want to actually look for the words whole grain. That should be the first ingredient in the cereal. Should say whole grain, not whole wheat necessarily, whole grain. Those are the words that you're looking for. So that's really key. So traditionally, when you get like a yogurt parfait for adults, you would be topping with granola or nuts or things like that. But I like using Cheerios because it's got just 1 gram of sugar per serving. So that's fantastic. And for our little ones, if you've got little ones at the table who are just starting to learn to eat, maybe you're doing some baby-led weaning, these are perfect for practicing those pincer grasp skills. So again, everyone at the table can be enjoying the same kinds of foods. Now, yogurt is another really great snack option for our kiddos because it's going to provide the carbohydrates, protein, calcium, and in some cases also vitamin D. And that's going to help support our kids' growing muscles and bones. So key. And of course, my child would never eat this much in one go, but you can serve it up depending on their appetite. And whenever possible, I do like to use plain yogurt, and that way you can add whatever kinds of amounts of sweetener that you want, whether you want to add some fruit, some chia jam. You could just sweeten it with a little bit of maple syrup or honey to taste. But I also like to use a fuller fat yogurt as well. So this is a 5%, and I like Greek because Greek has more protein. But children can absolutely go for the fat, go for the full fat. Adults as well. I'm a big fan of full fat dairy, so that would be my choice. And then this is really fun part. So we're gonna add our Cheerios for a nice crunch on top. These are our whole grains. I'm gonna load it up there. I mean, this is a snack the whole family will enjoy, myself included. This is like one of my favorite snacks / breakfasts. So we got the crunch action. And then one of my favorite things to do is to make this little fruit, kind of fruit plate here. And this is a great way to get your kids involved in the kitchen in helping to prepare their own meals. And the reason we want to do that is because anytime we can bring the kids in the kitchen and let them kind of get involved a little bit, they're going to be way more likely to eat whatever it is that they are being served when they've had a hand in preparing it, even if it's something that they otherwise maybe wouldn't have tried. So this way they can have a little bit of autonomy in the kitchen, and they'll be just more excited about the meal. So of course, you know, you add whatever kind of fruit and berries. We've got everything that we want going on here. We've got fiber, whoopsies, runaway blueberry, lost a few good men today. We've got blueberries, kiwi. I mean, look at this beautiful bowl. What kid wouldn't want to eat that? Everything is so delicious. So that's a great, easy snack that can be packed in a little mason jar if you want to take it to, or a little Tupperware if they want to take it to school. Fantastic option. Next, we're going to do my 4 ingredient oatmeal granola bars. I'm gonna put this aside here. So what I've got going on here is I'm gonna just turn on my burner, and I've got some maple syrup here. So that's going into a pan. I'm literally just gonna let that maple syrup kind of bubble and boil away just until it's simmering and you're starting to see that kind of bubbles happening. Let me just get a little spatula here. Make sure you get all that maple syrup. You can use honey as well, or even agave. You're really just looking for a nice sticky option. So let's just let that cook away. I'm gonna grab my bowl and a square baking tray that I've just lined with some parchment paper. Super simple, just like that. And I've got some whole grain oats. So again, we're talking whole grains, very important, rich in fiber. That's going into a bowl. And the beautiful thing about this recipe is it's incredibly versatile. So again, you get the kids involved, they decide what they want to put in, it actually becomes like a nice fun activity that you can all do together. The only thing that I wouldn't really want my kid doing is handling the super hot boiling sugar maple syrup. But otherwise, it's a totally fair and safe recipe for them to get involved with. Okay, so then into my bowl, we've got whatever add-ins that you want. It's like I have a combination of mini chocolate chips and some freeze-dried strawberries, which my son's obsessed with. So these are all very, you could use nuts, coconut, seeds. I've got some hemp hearts. Why not throw those in? Anything that you have in your pantry that you want to load up on the flavor, throw some flax in there, chia, go to town. It really is super versatile. So just gonna give that one more second. It's gonna be so fast. And then what I've got here is some natural nut butter. You can use peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter. If you've got allergies or you want to bring these to school or daycare and they allow this, you could use the sunflower seed butter. That also is totally works really, really well as well. So that's going in. This way we're going to add lots of healthy fats. That's already bubbling away, ready to go. So you can see, nice and hot. Again, that's where you don't want your children to get involved, but otherwise, this is like a very easy recipe for kids to have their little say in whatever add-ins they want to throw in. Just turn that off. And then we have to work kind of quickly, mix everything up. Just get it all coated in the peanut butter and the maple syrup. And because that maple syrup was nice and hot, it really kind of like melts down the peanut butter, because sometimes when you're using natural nut butters, they do get a little bit stiff to work with, especially if they've been in the fridge. So this way it just kind of makes it a little bit more pliable. And that looks good. Ooh, and the chocolate has kind of melted into it, so it's gonna be nice and chocolatey. Big boy E is gonna love this. My son is going to love this. All right, so then get it into your tray. And a little hack here, because I don't like to clean things and I don't like things to stick. Line it with some parchment paper, kind of like a maxi pad wings, you know? And that way it's super easy just to lift it right out. So I'm gonna do a quick job here of just kind of smearing it about, but of course you could be a little bit more thorough if you had the time and you weren't doing a cooking demo. What's our time like? 17, oh, beautiful. And I apologize if as soon as I get this done, I will answer some of your questions. But doesn't have to be perfect because you're gonna cut these into little bars, break them up. I mean, kids are so messy anyways. Does it really matter what things look like? No, if there's chocolate in it, they're gonna be happy about it. That's how I see things. So that's looking pretty good without being OCD about it, because Mama don't have time to be super on point with this. All right, so basically, if you were in a rush, you pop these in the freezer. Otherwise, they can go in the fridge. Super simple. So I'm just gonna put it in the freezer. I don't know if they're gonna set by the time we're finished today, but regardless, they're going in. So, All right, last but not least, this is a really fun one too. We are going to make some fruity spring rolls, as we call it. That's a little hot. So I'm just filling up my pan here, just a baking pan. You can use like a cookie sheet, anything like that will work, with a little bit of warm water. Mine's pretty hot, so I'm just gonna cool it down with some colder water. Nice. And I've got some rice paper wraps. So rice paper wraps, you know, you've had like little spring rolls or cold rolls, summer rolls. Basically, that's what we're making, but we're going to be making them sweet, which is, of course, not traditional. So what I've got here is some cooked quinoa. You can use cooked rice, any leftovers that you have from just like meal prep. But generally speaking, just like a little life hack here, folks, I always will do one big batch of a grain and use it throughout the week in all sorts of different recipes, including things like this. So whether it's rice or quinoa, I just cook like a whole box of it, and then I throw it into salads and soups and stir fries and just serve it on the side. And it's so versatile. So that's what I've got here. I've got some more nut butter. Again, if you're a nut-free home, you can do this with sun butter. I also tried this with mashing up a ripe banana. That's another way to just kind of like glue it together if you don't want any of the kind of nut butters at all. So this is gonna go in. I'm gonna make a huge mess because that's what quinoa does. This is a great way to get your kids to eat at getting all over your floor, because any other mom with a toddler knows that if you serve quinoa and you expect them to eat it with a spoon or a fork, most of it's going on the floor. So it is one messy grain, but it's very nutritious. So I just kind of plow through it and clean it up afterwards. That's why I have a dog. So basically what we've got here is that nut butter is acting like the glue for our quinoa. So it's gluing it all together, these grains together. So it's gonna be a little bit more pliable, a little bit more packable, so it doesn't make so much of a mess when we try to assemble these little rolls. So again, this is a job your kids could do. They can absolutely kind of mix together the grains with the peanut butter. And at this point as well, if you want to sweeten this up a bit more, you could absolutely throw in some sweeteners, some maple syrup, some honey, some sugar. But I find that because we've got so much fruit going on, you're gonna see, they're pretty flavorful and naturally sweet as is. So moving this over here, I'm just gonna clean up my working station here. All right, so what I've got, like I said, this is a cake pan. You can use a pie plate. That's normally what I do. And then I've got these little rice paper wraps. So these are normally for those kind of cold summer rolls, but we're gonna do this sweet style instead. So give it a good little massage, you know, give it some love, the love that we're not getting here, that us moms desperately need. We could all go for one of these little rub downs here. So I'm gonna try to get this pretty pliable. So not so pliable that like you can't work with it and it just like everything sticks to you in a clump in your hand, but you're gonna need to be pliable enough that you can maneuver it and roll it. So it's just gonna take about 10 seconds or here in that warm environment, a nice warm bath that I would love to be in right now. Okay, that's feeling about right. So you can see, pretty pliable. So I'm gonna lay this down as cleanly as I can. And we get out that fruit tray again. We're gonna have some fun. This is, again, what the kids can get involved with. We have to get them involved. They have to see that making food and eating food is really fun, and this is nutritious food, so we want them to get excited about it. So take a little bit of your quinoa peanut butter mixture, and I like make it kind of like a log, just like that. It doesn't need to be perfect. It really, I mean, no one needs to Instagram these, right? They're going straight to your children's mouth. And then have fun. Add some fruit, little strawberries, ooh, a little kiwi, which I love. Kiwi, so good. Any kind of fruit that you have on hand, anything that's in season. Got a snack as you go. I'm adding some seeds. You don't have to. Just I like a little bit of crunch. So great for the kiddos who like a little bit of crunch factor. Some pistachios and some, those are sunflower seeds. And then we're rolling. We're rolling with the homies, as they say. So just a little action like that. Roll it over once. Tuck in those sides. A little tuck and roll here. And keep rolling. And you roll as tight as you can, but you know what? You don't need to be an expert. I'm certainly not. But that is what you're going to be left with. A nice, delicious, sweet, cold roll that is perfect for snack or even for a great fast breakfast. And basically what we've got going on here is, I'm just going to grab a knife and you cut it in half if you want, or you just, eat them whole like that. So this is what they look like. They're packed with all those goodies that you threw in there. And we've got some more yogurt. We do a little dip. You can serve with dip. All kids like to dip, right? Everything is better with a dip. So a little bit of yogurt. You could add a little bit of maple syrup or honey in there to sweeten. Delicious. I love the nuttiness. Okay, what's our timing? 4 minutes. Let's check on our nut bars. I'm not sure if they're really actually solidified yet, but let's take a peek. You don't want to rush a good thing. Yeah, if they're still pretty warm, but essentially all you would do is lift this right out. And then once they're firm, you can cut them into bars as big or small as you want. And they were fantastic snack. I also freeze these individually so that you can just pull them out from the freezer whenever you need a quick snack and you're on the go. So I'm gonna let those continue to harden up. Meanwhile, since I have a few moments here, let me just bring you closer and see if there's any questions here. Alana, thank you for having me, Alana. What is the portion of maple syrup, honey to dry ingredients? Great question. So where are we? In the bars, it is 2 cups of oats, half a cup of almond butter or peanut butter, and half a cup of maple syrup. And like I said, you can customize it. That recipe is on my blog. If you go to abbeyskitchen.com, we'll make sure that there's lots of great recipes. The other thing I want to mention, maybe I'll write it here. I run a really great mom group on Facebook called the Millennial Mom's Guide to Mindful Meal Planning. If you're not already a member, you can absolutely join. We talk about picky eating, baby-led weaning, meal ideas. There's lots of dietitians in the group to help you out, give you lots of inspiration, as well as lots of amazing moms who have so much real world experience. It's just fantastic. What else we have? Okay, perfect. So I'm caught up. Great. Well, I hope that everyone enjoyed. Maybe while I have 4 more minutes, I'm going to roll another one of these because that's going to be my snack. My big boy E is at his grandparents' today, and that's always fun. So yeah, it's nice to have a little bit of time, a little bit of relatively quiet time with just one baby rather than 2. But I hope that everyone has an amazing time here at MomFest. There's so many great sessions that I'm sure you guys are going to learn so much. And yeah, if anyone has any more questions, I want us to think about all of these recipes, with the exception of the yogurt bowl, are on my website, abbeyskitchen.com. And if anyone has any other questions, I'm happy to answer them. You can also find me at Abby's Kitchen on Instagram and Facebook and my YouTube channel. I have lots of fantastic recipes for families and toddlers and baby-led weaning and all of that kind of fun stuff. I'm just going to do one more here. Let's see. How long do the rolls keep? Great question. If you prepare them all, I would say they're going to keep in the fridge about maybe 1 to 2 days. After that, the fruit kind of starts to, because there's moisture in it, so it starts to get a little bit seepy. But if you prepare these the night before, you can absolutely get them into the lunch boxes, no problem. The bars will last months in the freezer, and so that's usually how I keep them. And that's and that way you can have something that you could just pull out, put it in the microwave, or just let it thaw out at room temperature, and it'll be ready to go whenever you need it. So there we go. So I'm going to show you my rolling technique, which is pretty terrible, but you know what? Like I said, it's all going to end up the same place. Just like that. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. There you go. Oh, let's get that nice and dry. Perfect. Nailed it. Nailed it. Thanks so much, guys. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Oh, and I did maybe we can leave a link or something to go to the Millennial Moms Guide to Mindful Meal Planning Facebook group, so that everyone can hopefully join in on that at some point if you are not already members. So definitely check that out. Yeah. There we go. Thank you, Jess. You rock. Thank you. Yeah, so just click on that link and you'll get taken to some questions, and I'll be able to just add everybody to the group after these sessions are over. So you'll get lots of information there. And my website, I'm going to write it down, Abby's Kitchen, and my Instagram. Lots of children and toddler and family related recipes. So hopefully you'll all find something to enjoy. Amazing. All right. Well, thanks everybody for having me, and enjoy the rest of MomFest.